Listen to me. It cannot be understated how significant of a role the media plays in quashing progressive movements and keeping more Black people in jail. And it's frustrating because every time we say the criminal system isn't broken, it's working as intended, these are the outlets and institutions that respond, no, we still need to have faith in the system. We need reform, we need reform, we need reform. But then every time we actually get substantive progressive reform, here they go with campaigns like this filled with lies. And please trust that it's not a coincidence that they're going to places like the Shade Room and Baller Alert with Black audiences to peddle these lies, because what they want is for Black people to internalize propaganda and lies so that we don't support progressive initiatives that are designed to keep us out of jail. So I'm going to dispel these myths about the purge law, because there is no purge law. All there is a concerted effort by media, right-wing Republicans, and neoliberals to keep Black people in jail. You've probably heard about Rikers, because Rikers is infamous. But less people realize that Rikers is a pre-trial detention center, meaning the people incarcerated at Rikers have not been convicted of a crime. Last year, 16 people died in Rikers. This year, 13 people died in Rikers, and Rikers has already been declared a human rights crisis. So what if I told you that the crisis happening at Cook County Jail was worse? Cook County Jail is the pre-trial detention center in Chicago, Illinois, meaning the people incarcerated at Cook County Jail have not been convicted of a crime. They simply just don't have the money for bail. And that's an important point people need to understand about bail. Bail is not about public safety. Bail is about whether or not you can afford your freedom, period. I am a public defender who represents people that are incarcerated at Rikers, where people are killed, people are beaten, people are sexually assaulted, people spend years of their life. And I'm telling you that I was floored to find out that there are people sitting in Cook County Jail waiting on a trial for 4 years, 8 years, even 11 years. So let me tell you about what the Chicago Public Safety Act would do. The first lie being circulated is that this bail reform will prevent police from being able to make arrests. False. Not only can police arrest whoever they want, like they've always been able to, all the bail reform law does is encourage them not to make completely low-level arrests that they could write tickets for. And you wanna know what else? You wanna know what else? A law enforcement agency proposed that language. What the Public Safety Act would take low-level crimes, low-level misdemeanors, non-violent crimes, and instead of those being bail eligible, where you sit in jail because you don't have the money, you fight your case from the outside, because now judges cannot set bail and keep you incarcerated for something they probably otherwise would not have been able to. What this Public Safety Act would do is it would get rid of the cash bail system. It doesn't mean that nobody goes to jail pre-trial. It means that instead of whether or not you're free or you're in jail being determined based on how much money you have, instead, prosecutors would have 3 different options that they could keep you detained should they so choose. Prosecutors will have an option to present evidence to the judge showing that you are a threat to public safety, or that you have engaged in some kind of willful flight from prosecution, or if you're simply charged with most felonies, and they can have you detained pre-trial. The reality is that the vast majority of people in our criminal system are living well beneath the poverty line. They're represented by public defenders because they cannot afford representation, which is a fact. The same court that will then place high bail on them they know they can't afford it. So it's a tactic by which we put poor people in jail for things we probably couldn't prove at a trial. They'll probably never have a trial. It's a way to coerce them into plea deals. But it is not about public safety, because at the end of the day, if you have the money, you can buy your freedom. So what this act does is it gets rid of that component, and it actually makes it about dangerousness. It makes it about whether or not the prosecutor has some evidence that he can present to justify detaining you pre-trial, rather than just using and exercising your own wealth or lack thereof against you. Listen to me. Do not fall for the propaganda. They're calling it the purge law because they want you to believe that a law designed at affording you more rights, at preventing you from being railroaded, at preventing more deaths from mounting inside a Cook County Jail is not there to help you. It's a lie. This has nothing to do with public safety. Listen, we allegedly live in a civil society with a presumption of innocence, where people should not die awaiting their trial for crimes they have not been convicted of. That shouldn't be what's happening, but that is what's happening each and every day inside this country at pretrial detention centers all around this country. But Cook County Jail and the pretrial detention centers in Chicago and in Illinois are some of the worst. This law is meant to help us. Do not mind the propaganda.